So Moses comes down off the mountain, having met with God and receiving the 10 Commandments, and he gives those commandments to the people, and then he returns to the mountain to receive more instructions from God. And this conversation takes a while. It's like 12 chapters in between those two things. And those 12 chapters contain instructions on how to worship, how to ordain priests, how to keep the Sabbath, and more than once, to make sure to not make any idols at all. So what do? They make an idol. This happens like within 40 days. So the ink isn't even dry on the stone yet, right? They can't keep their own rules for 40 days. They get worried about Moses. Is he ever coming back? We don't know where he is. They get worried about not having a leader who can tell them what God is saying. And they need to see and to feel and to be in the presence of a God. And so they tell Aaron that he must give them a God that they can touch. Give us something shiny to worship. We like shiny things, don't we? Our lives are filled with shiny things. Our celebrities are shiny. They wear shiny clothes. They put on shiny jewelry. They even wear shiny makeup, right? In front of shiny lights so that even their skin will glitter. Our buildings are shiny. Our cars are shiny. We give shiny things to people that we love to tell them that we love them, right? We like shiny things. And apparently, we've liked shiny things for a very long time. We've liked them for at least as long as this point in the story. The people of Israel, in desperate need for assurance, an assurance that God hasn't left them, that God is still there. They need something shiny to look at. Can you believe it? They are so weak. They have no willpower at all. Or perhaps they're just being true to themselves. Because they've always been a people who worshipped in the presence of shiny things. They didn't understand this God that was so different and expected them to be different. God expected them to be different, to leave all that they knew, the way that they grew up, their culture really, behind them in Egypt. Who could really blame them for being true to what they've always known? You know, we do that a lot too. We choose words that betray our feelings about the way people are. For instance, what do you call someone who stands their ground? Who's firm in their beliefs? Are they principled? Are they stubborn? Maybe a little bit of both, right? How about people who are willing to change? How do we feel about them? Are they progressive? Are they open-minded? Or are they wishy-washy? Are they pushovers? Right? What about people who speak up? I'm going to speak up for what I believe in. Are they a person who stands up for themselves and others? Are they a champion of the people? Or are they boisterous or obnoxious? Right? How about people who care for others? Are they empathetic? Are they compassionate? Or are they soft? Are they a bleeding heart? In all of these cases, we can either applaud the characteristics that we like, or we can write off the ones that we don't, because at the heart of it all, people are who they are. They are like that naturally, and we aren't going to change that. And yet, that is what God is trying to do with these Israelites. God is trying to change them. God wants them to live differently. God wants them to show the world that it is possible, it's possible in this world to live together, to care for one another, and to leave behind their selfish desires for the good of the whole community. That is the reason for the commandments in the first place. And that is the reason for the prohibition of idols. So what should God do now that they've made this golden cow? They violated the second commandment, and they've done it before they even needed a haircut. What should be their punishment? After all, God told them if they violated the law, they would be punished severely for 7 generations, right? So here it comes. God says to Moses, my fury is going to burn and devour these stubborn people. But don't worry, Moses, I'm still going to make a great nation out of you. Just these people, they're done. And my question is, does God have the right to do this? Well, yes, because God is God, right? God is the master of the universe, so God can rain fire and fury down on the world if God chooses to. Wow, that's a frightening thought. As we look around the world, and we see the ways in which we have broken the commandments out of selfishness, why are we still here? If God can rain down fury, why isn't God's fury everywhere? And God can rain fire, but should he? Well, according to the rules, yes. But according to the standard thinking on parenting, right, which is or controlling the classroom, or training dogs, or running a cabin at camp, God should come down hard on them the first time that they break the rules so that the rest of the time he can be more lenient, right? Let them know who's boss. Fury is coming. But Moses has a different take on this. Moses pleads to God for mercy for his people. He says, Lord, why does your fury burn against your own people? Why? You brought them out of the land of Egypt with great power and amazing force. Why should the Egyptians be able to say, God, he brought them out of Egypt just so that he could kill them in the mountains? That must have been his intention all along. In other words, God, you knew these people. You knew what they were like. You knew it would be hard, right? Because you're trying to make these people be different from every other nation in the world. You're trying to do something here, God. You want them to live differently, and that isn't easy. That isn't something that happens overnight. It takes time. Change takes time. They have to go against what they know, what they've learned. They have to stop wanting shiny things. You know how much we like shiny things, God. It takes time to change. And the amazing thing is this, that God does change his mind. Moses pleads with God and God changes his mind. That is a beautiful thing. That is a beautiful thing. What a glorious thing that we have a God that is willing to change his mind on the compassionate word of a human being. That's love. That's love. Love thinks that perhaps the word or the thought of the other person is better than their own. Love lets the other weigh in. Love is unselfish, it's not stubborn, it's willing to let their own needs take a back seat. And that's what God does with the Israelites. And that's what God continues to do here. We still break commandments, right? We still act in selfish ways. We still love shiny things. But God looks past that. God sent Jesus to teach us that shiny things are no match. Shiny things are no match for the beauty of God. Jesus taught us that people matter more than rules. Jesus taught us that grace is greater than sin. And then Jesus proved it by putting us first and going to the cross. Jesus is God showing us that the covenant people who are supposed to be different than the rest of the world is an endeavor that is worth God's time and effort and commitment. God is so committed to this that Jesus died to show us that nothing we do will keep us from God's love. And so now we're called to live that. We're called to live differently than the world around us, than the nations around us. Don't we believe that? Even apart from our own beliefs that the United States is supposed to be a shining example of what the world could be, don't we believe that as those who follow Christ, that we believe that we are to show the world that the least, the last, and the lost are the ones that God favors? That is where we started. We started as a people who were enslaved and oppressed in Egypt. And we started again as a people who followed the one who was killed for his radical love. And we continue as a church who is supposed to show the world that shiny things are not as important as people. How are we going to live out the call to be a covenant people that is different from the world? How are we going to live less focused on shiny things and more on becoming people who live differently for God's sake? Would you pray with me? God, help us to see you in the beauty of everything, and to know that your beauty is unmatched. That as we love you, that we would also love the people you love, that we would pay attention to the world around us, and that we would live differently as an example. That we would try to model Jesus, who was more than our example, but our Savior. Help us to do that each and every day.